The Inspector General of Police has recommended the suspension of Drambi Vandi, the trigger-happy Assistant Superintendent of Police. The Inspector General of Police has recommended the suspension of Drambi Vandi, the trigger-happy Assistant Superintendent of Police, who is said to have killed a Lagos-based pregnant lawyer, Bolanle Rahim. Today, the Nigerian Police Force has come out to say that the killer cop in Lagos, as Drambi Vandi, has been put up for suspension by the Inspector General of Police. The man was said to have shot dead on Christmas Day. Mr. Bolanle Rahim, who was coming back from church. The cop and his team was said to have been trying to stop Rahim and our family members as they drove back home from a church service. Let's get some more details on this incident and perhaps how the police is handling this situation. I'm being joined by the Force Public Relations Officer of the Nigerian Police Force, Mr. Muyiwa Adejobi. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Yeah, sure. Good evening. How are you?
Thank you so much. Compliments of the season to you. Now, you realize Nigerians are very outraged and very unhappy with this scenario, which in the first place is perhaps not, in fact, the only incident, perhaps the case of the woman on the Christmas Day, Bolanle Rahim, became a bit more popular than the others, and which I'll come back to. That police division, which has now become a very notorious one for those people who are living in that area in Lagos State. The statement implies that the IG has recommended the police officer for suspension. So the consideration is that does the IG restricted in any way from meting out a full weight of the law on this person, or what exactly is going on? Is the investigation concluded yet?
Well, before we start discussion fully, let me just give this message from the IGP to Nigerians and the whole world to commiserate with the family of the deceased, our colleagues, friends, and those who are been affected by the incidents. So we are pained that the unfortunate incident occurred at this crucial time. It's quite unfortunate. And that's the message of the IG. That's number one message. The second thing is, whatever it is, there's going to be justice. And don't forget, like in the statement I made yesterday on Twitter to people when we were having discussion about this matter, I made it known that it's an ASP. It's not an inspector, a member of the rank and file, that you can just say, yeah, you're either suspended, you are this, you are that. No, there is a procedure to follow. And number one procedure is for the Inspector General of Police to recommend to the Police Service Commission that this officer should be suspended. And the suspension is for us to have that neutrality, the ability, the platform to have proper investigation or further legal actions that might be taken against the officer who pulled the trigger. We are not here to be saying who is at fault or not. It's clear when we have a murder case, every other thing will need to subside for murder case. Is quite unfortunate, and we are not happy about the incident. Like I said in a statement today, that the IGP who has seen this incident as an unfortunate one, waited in yesterday when he condemned the act that is condemnable in totality. And the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, CP Abiodun Alabi, has been mandated to do thorough investigation about it. The officer is in detention, as I speak with you. And I think by now we should have received the interim report, not the detailed report of the incident. We need to work on something. We need to have the facts from Lagos State Police Command. Apart from what we have in the news, there must be a document to even tell us, black and white, that this is it, and this is that. So we have the interim report. By now, we should have received the interim report from Lagos State Police Command. This will help us to have more facts and see, possibly to see what we are going to do. But definitely, it's a murder case. And we want to assure Nigeria that, like people say yesterday, that we want to conceal the officer, we want to do this, our nature. It is not in our nature. The police today are stand to be quoted or corrected anywhere. It means that agency that will always fish out the erring ones in the police, and we punish them accordingly. We hand them over to the law to take the course.
Perhaps the impression Nigerians have about your colleagues are the fact that you even hear some police officers say, "I will kill you and nothing will happen." I mean,
but many things have been happening, Sure.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You agree with me? Many things have been
No, you can tell Nigerians what has happened, because it does look to a lot of Nigerians who are very pained about this, is that we have a lawless set of police, some lawless police officers. I mean, we cannot have the same brush to paint all police officers. There are very good and professional police officers,
sure,
no doubt. But there are very bad ones within the rank and file of the police who are very terrible and are bringing a bad name to the Nigerian police force.
So you agree with me? You are a lawyer, and you must have done little about sociology. This is an anomaly theory is always there, that when you have in society more than one or two people, you're bound to have deviants who will always be deviant. It's a natural thing. So they can't rule out the fact that because we are in the police, we wear the uniform, they want to rule out the fact that we are human beings.
But the question of impunity is the case. If there is a system that is being tainted with impunity, that is where the matter is. That should anything happen that is untoward, will the system be able to fix it?
There's no impunity in it. If you say, I'm going to kill you, and nothing will happen, let him kill first and see what happens. We cannot cover such a thing. We talk about murder. The Constitution says everybody has right to life. Even if at all you want to take somebody's life, there are conditions. When you want to use your firearms, there are laws, guidelines, principles. First of all, 237 is there. United Nations BPFM, basic principle for use of force and firearms is there. If you use the firearms outside the provisions of these principles or these treaties or these laws, you are on your own. You are going to be held responsible, and the law will take its course.
Let's take this matter one after the other. It seems to me that the priority for us tonight is this matter. Any other one is secondary. So there are about 3 or so police officers involved at that incident, isn't it?
It's a thinking, but the person who pulls the trigger will be responsible.
No, I wanted
to hold all of them responsible.
You know, now you need to give Nigerians a benefit of information. You need to give them information so that they can believe in Nigerian police force.
They went out on an operation. So it's a teamwork. All of them signed for guns. Vandy signed for his own gun, and he used his own gun. The outcome of the gun is what we are saying now. So he should be the one.
No, I'm asking that there are 3 of, how many of them were in that team?
I think there were 3 of them. I'm not so sure.
But is the only one in custody right now?
No, he's the only one. He's the only one.
He's the only one being investigated.
He's the only one being investigated.
So what is the?
Because he's even the most senior person.
Out of the
he's the most senior person out of the team.
So what are we hearing? What do we know now in that investigation so far?
No, it is a clear case that the fact in the issue is somebody fired and somebody died. Who fired? Being identified. No argument about it. But the only thing is we need to follow the process. Don't forget, trying police officers, taking them through processes of disciplinary processes is a legal matter that you need to follow so that you not give loopholes to people like you. And the lawyers that will come and say, see a loophole. Whatever you want to do, we need to be patient enough. Let due process be followed. Let the law be considered. And we're going to do the needful. All we want is, this man has been identified. It is clear. Then the next thing is, we are to suspend the man. The commission or the police will suspend the man so that we can, if at all he's going to court, you can't take somebody who is serving.
As a police service commission accepted the suspension?
No, the letter has been said. This commission would not, if the headquarters, if the IGP, the headquarters is saying, this is what you want for social reasons. The commission, I'm sure, will not say no. This is not the first time we've been doing that.
We know that a uniformed man who is a senior officer will have to go through a certain procedure before, which is not really the same thing for an average citizen. So give Nigerians an understanding of the procedure that you are talking about, the process of justice.
No, for his own case, for this case now, Vandy is an ASP. The IG cannot say go. Even with this case, if you want to prosecute, even to the rank and files, you want to prosecute anybody, you must. Is either you dismiss the person or you suspend the person before the case is charged to court. So in his own case, The first step is he has been identified, he has been detained, investigation has been carried out, an interim report has been forwarded to us in Abuja, and we have written to Service Commission recommending that this officer, then the ASP, should be suspended so that every other legal procedures can go on unhindered. And these are the procedures that we need to know. People have been saying we delay things. We don't. We need to follow all these processes so that we would not run foul of the law. And even as a process, it is important for us to follow this one after the other. Because if at all they charge him to court, don't give him the room to challenge even our process. So we must do everything according to provisions of the law.
You know the reason why some people perceive that there is some level of impunity within the police force? And I'd like to ask you, are you aware of a certain case within that same division?
Which one, please? Start with
the case of Iganiyu.
Okay, that was shot.
That was a shredded.
Yes, I was aware, and I think the policemen. Don't let me use the word culprits now. The policemen who fired Iganiyu are in Panti, as I speak with you. They are in Panti, and the matter has been investigated. But you know, at times when we have issues like this, let me quickly say this: the family of deceased at times always slow our processes down. In the situation where some people prefer negotiation to legal actions, if they say, okay, we want settlement, amicable settlement, it's going to be unfair to that man who is the suspect now to say, okay, you want to settle amicably, then you want to charge him, you want to dismiss him. He's going to be tantamount to job with your party. So I think people need to understand pressures at times we face. I've seen a case where somebody will say, okay, my boy is dead, he's dead. If I take this policeman to court, what is the outcome? Give me money, let me go. So people should need to understand and to see what we face in most cases.
Killing anyone is not a civil case.
It's not a civil, it's criminal.
Yeah, it's a criminal case,
criminal.
Which the state, it behoves on the state to be able to take up this matter.
It's criminal,
so settlement or no settlement,
even if the case goes to court, I've seen situations where the family of the deceased went to court to go and file a motion that we are not interested.
No, but it behoves on the Attorney General who has the right to be able to withdraw. So even if the family says we are not going...
Despite that, if people are talking of delay in processes, that's where the delay will come from. But at the end of the day, a murder case is a case against the state, not against an individual like that. That's okay.
That's on point.
The case will still go to court,
yeah.
Even if they still file a motion that they don't have interest. It's not left to the judge to decide. But why carrying out these processes, investigation and the likes? They slow us down and they give us issues at times. But in this case, this particular case, this extant case, we are going to make sure justice is done. The case, of course, will go to court. And don't forget that the Lagos State government too has shown interest that the AG will lead prosecution. So it's not only the police that are going to lead.
In the case of Ganiyu, what are you telling us tonight?
No,
it is not a case that have been abandoned or jettisoned.
No, not abandoned.
Or dropped.
As of yesterday, the CP said, because I think they have about 3 or 4 officers in that team. So it's not only one like this case that we're handling now. So the CP said the DC Panti, that's DCCID in Panti, will forward reports to him. And of course, if there's no need, because I think those one involved are inspectors downward. The AIG Zone 2 may take decision on those ones. We don't need to come to the AIG level or the Service Commission level because there's no ASP involved in that particular incident. So they will handle that one. All we need is, like I told the PRO Lagos yesterday, is that let people know actions you have taken on issues like this.
All right.
If you don't tell them what we have done, they will think the police has come as usual. We want to sweep this under the carpet. We don't want to do anything. We don't do anything with impunity. Yep. If you commit an offense as a policeman, you pay dearly for it. Nobody will tolerate that. And the law, the Police Act is clear about it. Constitution is clear about it. Criminal laws are very clear about all this. So I want people to always understand us from this angle, that we don't keep cases.
If you are giving Nigerians assurances that what we have seen in the past, because when we wonder what became the outcome of the NSAS, has the Nigerian police really learned anything from the outcome of the NSAS?
Both sides have learned so many things from NSAS. Not only the police will learn from NSAS.
Has the police learned
the
anything?
Real NSAS, not the second dimension.
No, I'm saying the real NSAS, the actual protest is against brutality and
Hey, at what point in time are you going to demarcate the real answers?
We're talking about the real issue of police brutality, arbitrariness in police civil engagement, and extrajudicial killings. All these, that is the real essence.
These have always been addressed by the police. Don't forget, Shim, you are seeing Nigeria when we decided, the first headquarters decided to dismiss some policemen for misbehaving, either by assaulting people, trapping on people, fundamental human rights, checking on phones, using cutlass to beat people. We don't kill some of these cases. Because if you do, it's not going to help us. It's even going to be more cancerous to us in the system. If you are keeping men like this, they could be dangerous to us in the job. So we don't keep them.
If you say that you have learned from it, what reforms as the police internally on the gun that will give Nigerians the assurance? Because in any form of policing at all of world over, the trust of the people in the police makes the work of the police easier. So if Nigerians don't trust the police, your work is going to be tough.
It's not restricted to Nigeria alone. Trust services is a global thing.
Yeah, so I'm saying that. So what can you tell us one thing that has come in form of reforms that has happened after the post-EndSARS?
There are so many things.
So just tell us one.
Just so many things. The disciplinary measures put in place to sanction our erring officers is very, very key. It is not easy for a father to put down his son for sacrifice or to face the law. How many people can do that? Even as a father in Nigeria, many of us keep our children when they do wrong in society. But for us, as a responsible institution, the Npf, we always fish them out and we don't cover them. And I think when I became the PRO, even before now, during the former first PRO, Frank Mba, we've been rolling out statistics of men dismissed, suspended, reprimanded for one thing or the other. But it's part of reform.
But that's not going to solve the problem, Mr. Adejobi. If your officers are found taking India hemp, taking drugs and seeing them at the corner, losing their belt and being drunk, videos of such are in the public domain, the issue of whether or not there are psychoanalyses being done on your officers frequently, breathalyzer tests and all of that, are you doing such things? Have you put in place body cameras to ensure that there is probity, there is accountability, and there is clarity in the job and in the roles of the police officers? Have those kind of measures been put in place?
Sure. You don't need to be reactive on issues like this. We have been proactive enough in making sure we have men who have mental alertness to do this job. At the point of recruitment, the IGP has always released money to our medical department to go around to the whole country. All states, 36 states plus FCT, making 37 commands, to go and do assessment for all of them. Psychological assessment, mental alertness, everything, led by the Commissioner of Police in charge of medical FMO, to go around and do this. It's expensive, but we need to do it so that at the point of entry, we know those who are in the job. But don't forget, Darwin's theory, we always say, law of adaptation. When you continue to do certain things, you get adapted to it. On the job, many might decide to be deviant. It's a personal thing, not
That's the question I'm asking.
It's a personal thing.
On the job,
not systemic.
Not entrance.
The IG will not go and tell a policeman that go and smoke in there.
No, but when you see that your officers are taking up some vices, is it not the duty of the system to be able to check that? For example, is it too much to have breathalyzers to test whether or not your officers are acting?
They are all equipped. In fact, under this administration, all our medical facilities have been upgraded. And every command has a standard medical center, medical facilities to take care of all these things. And let me say this.
So it's a standard procedure now?
The IGP has reactivated the family support unit. This family support unit is to take care of PTSD, mental disorders, psychological imbalances, and the likes. And we do this on a regular basis, free of charge. Whether you are under NHIS, you are not under NHIS, or far you are a member of police family, you have access to these facilities, you have access to this equipment, and of course, they're going to assess you and write reports on you. In fact, let me tell you that recently, one man was caught in the video that was carrying on, dancing at the party, misbehaving, firing here and there. And when the case came to headquarters, we referred the matter to medical section. And the best thing was, let this guy go. He was recommended for compulsory retirement. So, all these things we put in place are to sanitize the system and to make sure we have that people-oriented policy structure in Nigeria.
Yeah.